Oh, what do you know? Just another elite career-defining game for Josh Allen that I'll never ever be able to go back and watch because we blew it again. For those who didn't see the short I uploaded earlier, my full reaction is there, but I'm not like extremely upset or anything. I'm just dead inside. Like, I'm completely killed. We need a new coach, man. Like, we need one bad because this I can't keep doing it. Anyway, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video and welcome to my Week 12 NFL reactions. This was a super busy weekend, obviously, with the holidays, so I only got to see what I got to see, and that wasn't a ton, so I'll react the best I can. But we also have a full slate of games, so we gotta get moving and we gotta be fluent. Real quick, don't forget to use code WyattzWorld on G Fuel or Prize Picks. You can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products or match up to $100 of your first deposit. Also, don't forget to hit up parentpresents.com. It's Cyber Monday, so there's not a better day to order your parents something awesome, and this is the website that's going to take you right to the perfect gift. Link is in the description. Anyway, that's all I got. Let's get into my Week 12 reactions. All right, so first game we got was the Packers at the Lions, and this was a Thanksgiving upset. I was able to see some of this game, and two takeaways. One, Christian Watson had a good game, and he actually looked really good. He made an explosive play, and it looked awesome. Another thing I wanted to compliment, Jordan Love. He is looking so much more consistent now. As you can see here, Love threw for 268 and 3 touchdowns while completing like 68% of his passes on the day. Little bit of a better day than Goff, who did throw for 332 and 2 touchdowns, but also had an issue during the game where he fumbled what appeared to be 8 drives in a row. Looking at rushing here, neither back were really impressive, but the receivers, like I did highlight earlier, Christian Watson had 5 receptions for 94 yards and a touchdown, while Amon-Ra had 9 for 95 on Detroit. Another fun fact, there were 3 sacks recorded in this game, and every single one of them was from Rashawn Gary. Defense does win games. And good job, Packers, you bastards. All right, moving on, we got the Commanders getting their heads kicked in by Dallas. I thought this game was going to be a little bit closer than it was, but ultimately my outcome was still correct. I was also right on Sam Howell still throwing for 300 yards too. That guy is going to throw a lot no matter who he plays. It's awesome to see that. Really though, this game stunk. As you can see, there's nothing to highlight here for Washington. Sam had the solo rushing touchdown. Curtis Samuel had 9 receptions for 100 yards and the defense got spanked. Looking at Dallas now, Dak is very much in the MVP conversation. 331, 4 more touchdowns. Tony P had a good game again. Brandon Cooks had a good game. Defense obviously ate. And I'm not going to lie, at the end of the game when it showed Dak Prescott eating a turkey leg while the football game was still going on, that might have been the most disrespectful shit I've ever seen. Blowout. Next up, we got the 49ers killing Seattle. I didn't watch a snap of this game because I knew. Well, I think we all knew. Especially after last week's game with the Seahawks losing to the Rams. Like, we fucking knew. I mean, look at this. Geno had a lousy day, no touchdowns, 1 pick, under 200 yards. Rushing was missing Kenneth Walker, so in his place was Zach Charbonnet, who did not capitalize on the situation once again. And the receiving was led by Jackson Smith at 2 for 41. Like, just a dog shit day. San Francisco looks like they were San Francisco, though. Purdy, 21 for 30, 209, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. McCaffrey had 19 carries for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns. Debo had a rushing touchdown. Debo also caught for 80 yards. Ayuk caught a touchdown. And the defense combined for 6 sacks and 1 pick. I do just gotta say one thing as far as San Francisco's offense goes. It just seems like when Debo plays, Kittle is irrelevant. And that kind of sucks. Like, I get it, but it sucks. Next game we got was the Dolphins at the Jets, and this game was dog shit. Dude, it was just turnovers. However, there was a really funny Fail Mary where Tim Boyle tried to make a miracle happen and it ended up just being a pick 6 for like 99 yards. And don't think I'm just roasting Tim Boyle either. As you can see here, Tua turned the ball over is a very real thing, and I like Tua, but he turns over the ball a lot, man. And don't come at me with Josh Allen turns it over more. I know, this ain't about Josh. This is about Tua. He has an issue. With that being said, the Dolphins still just manhandled the Jets this game. Mostert had 2 touchdowns and 94 yards. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek combined for 216 yards and a touchdown. Defense had 7 sacks. Like, there's a lot to celebrate here for Miami, but at the same time, things aren't as bright as they were seeming for them all game. Peeking at the Jets now, yeah, there's nothing here. Tim Boyle sucks, and he's gonna start again next week, which is questionable. Breece Hall sucked. Receiving sucked, although Garrett Wilson continues to find a way to stay relevant. And outside of the 2 interceptions that they had, their defense, well, sucked. Actually, CJ Mosley and DJ Reed had pretty pretty good games. But I just want to reiterate myself what I said a week ago. Rodgers ain't coming back, bro. He's not coming back for this 4-7 team. Next year maybe, but this year, no. And moving on, we got the Colts beating the Bucks, and I told you guys, the Colts are a legitimately decent team. They're not just a bad team who's getting by. Like, they are actually solid. Now, unfortunately, Gardner Minshew didn't have the best day of his career, 24 for 41, 251, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick, but he did have a rushing touchdown, and Jonathan Taylor also had 2 where he went off for 15 carries and 91 yards. Looking at the receiving here, Michael Pittman led the team, 10 for 107, followed by Josh Downs at 5 for 43. That's a very good 1-2 punch combo there. Also looking at their defense, they combined for 6 sacks and a pick. And I saw Tristan Wirfs get bullied a couple times actually on red zone. Now peeking at Tampa, Baker, he went 199, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 20 for 30. Rachaad White had probably the best rushing game I've ever seen out of him, 15 carries for 100 yards, and the receiving game was led by Mike Evans, who had 6 for 70 and both touchdowns. But as you can see, that's all the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did offensively, and that was not enough to keep up with the actually good Indianapolis Colts. I got your guys' back. Don't ever say I wasn't here for you. And now moving on, we got the Patriots falling to the Giants. I got a pretty simple analysis here. Bill's cooked, Mac is fried, and this team has no purpose to even show up to the next 6 games. Mac Jones and Bailey Zapp combined for like 140 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Receiving was led by Demario Douglas, who had 49 yards, and Ramondre Stevenson carried the offense with 98 yards and the only touchdown. I will say their defense did have a really impressive day though. Look at all the sacks here. 6 of them, and you still lose by 3 points? Holy shit. Looking at the Giants now, it's gonna be very quick. The only highlight I see is Jalen Hyatt having 5 receptions for 109 yards. Other than that, as you can see, nobody really did anything. This game was incredibly boring, but I would like to give a shout out to Tommy DeVito here, because not only did I doubt him to do good against Bill Belichick, he actually did like exceptionally well with the amount of attempts he had. He completed 17 out of 25 of them. This is back-to-back good games out of this guy. He could be, you know, an actual foundation going forward if they can ever figure out what to do with Daniel Jones. And now we got the Steelers beating the Bengals 16-10. Just like I said, 100% correct. 1,000 million gazillion% correct. This game was boring but unique at the same time, because even though the Steelers didn't score a lot of points, they had over 400 yards of offense for the first time in like 50-some games. Kenny slung it. Najee had a great day on the ground. Pat Freiermuth had 9 receptions for 120 yards. And the dirtiest player in the game, TJ Watt, got 2 sacks. Look, he is good, but he does play like an absolute scumbag. Also, shout out to Chris Boswell on kicking 10 of the points and being half the reason you guys won. Looking at the Bengals now, yeah, it was a slow day for him, but I do want to compliment Jake Browning. I mean, 19 for 26, 227, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. That's not that bad. Joe Mixon had a horrible day. Rushing was awful, but the receiving game was present, and if anything, the Bengals should have a little bit of hope going into the future. But yeah, this game, I didn't see you guys winning it, especially with Jake Browning's first performance ever as a full-time starter. And moving on, we got the Panthers losing to the Titans, 17-10. Again, 100% correctly predicted. Except I did not predict Frank Reich to get fired after this game. I thought it was going to be after this season, but yeah, as an hour and a half ago, he is fired. Look at Carolina here, dude. This is just trash. Bryce did nothing. Chuba did nothing except for the 1 touchdown that actually got Carolina some points. Receiving was finally led by their younger crowd, but then Adam Thielen now has 1 reception for 2 yards. What the hell is that? That doesn't mean don't use him completely. Like, he's still your best playmaker. Defense did nothing outside of Brian Burns. Like, this was just lousy. Looking at the Titans now, this was exactly, again, what I advertised. Will Levis would do what he could. Derrick Henry would run right through them because Carolina's run D is terrible, and Mike Vrabel would still be able to bully Bryce a little bit with his defense, which he did because he sacked him 4 times. I hate to say I told you so, but for the second time this week, I fucking told you so. Moving on, we got the Jags beating the Texans, and like I said, I wanted to pick the Jags, but I couldn't because of the bet, and I wasn't far off, but I was wrong. This was a great game, man. It went the distance, and we got to see both of the quarterbacks shine. First off, looking at the Jags, Trevor, 364 passing, 1 touchdown, and 1 rushing touchdown, again, being the dual threat, even though he had 0 rushing yards. Receiving, Calvin Ridley led the team. He might actually be back now, 5 for 89 and a touchdown, and Christian Kirk also did have 89, but not a score. And looking at their defense, they had a pretty big day with Josh Allen getting 2.5 sacks. And much to my liking, Trayvon Walker once again splitting one of them with Josh. I love that duel. Peeking at Houston now, CJ went for 304, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks, and a rushing touchdown. He was the man of the day. Nico Collins led the team at 7 receptions for 104. Tank Dell also caught a touchdown, having 5 for 50. And Derek Stingley Jr. is continuing to make a name for himself, logging in another interception. Could he finally be here? Like I said, fantastic game and crazy ending with Matt Amendola's kick being short by literal inches. Now we got the Saints falling to the Falcons. Like, oh my God. I watched this game through Red Zone, but I just don't get how the Falcons lost. Desmond Ridder looked terrible every time I saw him, yet they win by nearly 10 points. Checking out the Saints first here, Derek Carr, 304, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick, continues to disappoint me. Run game was present, but not at its peak. And Chris Olave led the team with receiving at 7 for 114, but like I just said, not a single receiver scored. Matter of fact, every single point came from their kicker, Blake Group, who was 5 for 6. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu did have 2 interceptions. That's the first time I've heard his name in like 8 years, but aside from him, Saints didn't do shit. Looking at the Falcons now, Ridder went 168, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Bijan had 16 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown, and also had 3 receptions for 32 yards and a touchdown, while Drake London led the team in receiving. See what happens when you use your best players, Arthur? Defense was also present, not really getting a lot of sacks or tackle action, but Jesse Bates did have, I think, a 99-yard pick 6, which without a doubt helped the team pull ahead and remain ahead, seeing as the Saints would never really catch up. Man, you guys fucking suck. All right, now we got the Rams at the Cardinals, and that'll be the last time I ever picked the fucking Cardinals. My God, 37-14 blowout. Stafford, 229, 4 touchdowns. Kyren Williams, 143 rushing yards. 2 receiving touchdowns for Kyren. Tyler Higbee had 2 receiving touchdowns. Defense had 4 sacks. I mean, this was murder. Speaking at Arizona now, Kyler, 27 for 45, 256, 1 touchdown. Also had a rushing touchdown, and other than that, the run game was completely irrelevant. Receiving was led by Hollywood Brown. Greg Dortch had the touchdown. And looking at their interception, Jalen Thompson had the 1 pick, considering everybody else just laid down and died. Good game, Arizona. Next up, we got the Browns losing to the Broncos. Yes! 29 points on that #1 defense, baby. Fuck off! Russell Wilson, 134, 1 touchdown. Didn't really know he did that lousy for passing on the day, but hey, a win's a win. Rushing, Javonte Williams at 18 for 65. Samaje Perine had a score, and Russ had the other score. As you can imagine, receiving wasn't really going to go off with Russ's passing yards, but Sutton did lead the team. I'm sure he made a highlight reel catch. And looking at their defense, they didn't have a pick off of DTR, but they did sack him 4 times. Peeking at Cleveland now, DTR, 134, 1 touchdown, 0 picks. PJ Walker got in the game too. Jerome Ford led rushing, 9 for 65. Receiving was led by David Njoku, who had 6 for 59. Harrison Bryant had the 1 touchdown, forgot he was even a person. And the defense had 1 sack on the day by Jeremiah. I'm not going to try to pronounce that last name. And I do also want to point out that I think Myles Garrett is hurt. Saw him in a sling. I'm not sure what happened though. Like I said, I wasn't really able to watch a lot of this. However, the Broncos pulled ahead. I'm looking less stupid as the weeks go on. In Broncos country, let's ride. Now we got the Chiefs at the Raiders, where the Chiefs did win, but they started off pretty rough. Mahomes finished out the day really good, 27 for 34, 298, 2 touchdowns. Pacheco had 15 carries for only 55 yards, but 2 touchdowns. And receiving was led by Rashee Rice, who had 8 receptions for 107 yards and a touchdown. We also did see Kelsey finally, bounce back a little bit here, 6 for 91. Although he hasn't been as bad as people have been making him seem either. I think they did have 1 sack too. Yeah, it was by George Karlaftis, but other than that, there was not a whole lot on the defense. Glancing at the Raiders now, Aiden O'Connell, he started off pretty good, didn't end that bad. Josh Jacobs had a good day on the ground again, and receiving on this team was led by Jacoby Myers at 6 for 79 and a touchdown. Patriots definitely couldn't use him or anything. Aside from that though, I'm not sure if the Raiders did anything. Oh yeah, Max Crosby got his gamely sack. But aside from that, it looks like they started off the game really good and then just kind of melted down. And now we're on to the Bills losing to the Eagles. Look, I don't want to get upset here, but it's kind of hard not to when Josh Allen throws for 339 yards, 2 touchdowns, runs for 81 yards, 2 more touchdowns, and we fucking lose. This is bullshit. Like, this is fucking pathetic. You guys also notice how Von Miller is just absent from the stat sheet? Since returning in week 5, he has 1 solo tackle and 1 assisted tackle. That is all he's done. Also, Tyler Bass, if you could have just hit all your field goals, you could have fucking won the game too. I mean, look at this. Jalen Hurts only threw for 200 yards. We held AJ Brown to 37. Their defense only got to Josh 1 time. Yet we're on the losing end of another just game of the year. I can't take it anymore. Now, were the refs terrible in this game? Absolutely. Were they bailing bailing the Eagles out all game, absolutely. But at the end of the fucking day, we should have won this game if Gabe Davis could have looked over his other shoulder, if Sean could have called some timeouts and had some balls to take a chance, or if he can make a defensive fucking stop. And now ending week 12, we have a game I didn't watch any of because I was depressed. It's the Baltimore Ravens beating the Chargers. A very quick summary for you guys. Lamar threw for 177, 1 touchdown, 0 picks. Zay Flowers had a rushing and a receiving touchdown. Isaiah Likely led receiving for Baltimore. And Jadeveon Clowney had the solo sack. Looking at the Chargers now, Herbert was 217, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Herbert also led rushing. I don't know if Eckler is actually turning into a potato or what's going on there. Receiving was topped off by Keenan Allen, who continues to be great. Gerald Everett caught the 1 touchdown. And Khalil Mack had a 2-sack day, continuing to prove that Father Time will never truly die. That's all I got for you guys on this game, though. Like I said, I was so depressed that I was upstairs in my bed just furious. All right, everybody, and that is all for my Week 12 NFL reactions. I'm going to go right to editing this so you guys can watch it on time, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, you already know what to do to show support. With everything I just said, though, I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and as always, I will see you in the next upload.